We are gathered at the Zala Qasba Hotel and Spa, where the 20th edition of the Congress Profamille takes place. Profamille, which is a psycho-educational program intended for the families of patients with schizophrenia. This edition is marked by the participation and the presence of renowned mental health specialists, such as the elected president of the World Association of Social Psychiatry, psychiatrists from around the world, as well as different mental health staff and families of patients. At the time of the last Congress of Profamille in Dijon, all the teams agreed so that Morocco could host the next edition that comes for honoring the laborious work of the militant non-governmental organizations in the field of mental health, such as Shams and Sela. The particularity of the Profamille program resides in the participation of not only the personnel of healthcare, but also the families of patients. That's why the incrimination of the families in the process of care is considered as a major asset in the care of patients affected by schizophrenia. Thanks to Profamille, families learn about the disease, the symptoms, the treatments, as well as the skills and techniques of communication with the sick loved ones during daily life.
المؤتمر كان
The 20th edition constitutes the second edition of the Profamille Congress to be organized in Morocco. It's an honor not only for the city of Marrakesh, but also for the Moroccan psychiatry to welcome and organize such a big event twice in 20 years. After the election of the city of Marrakesh as the place of the 20th edition of the Congress Profamille, the Association Shams contacted us for a possible collaboration, which the members of the Association Sela accepted on the spot. We are very delighted with the success of this edition in terms of organization, participation, as well as the openness to other organizations despite their non-membership in the network. This step constitutes a leap forward to spread psychoeducational program and give it to other associations in order to unify Moroccan cities, after the success of Profamille in Marrakesh, Rabat, and Casablanca. Being president of the Psychoeducation section of the World Association of Social Psychiatry, the WASP, allowed us to have the partnership of the latter to organize the Profamille Congress as well as the participation of the president of the WASP, which gives the international aspect of this edition. One of the objectives of the Congress is to achieve practical recommendations on the ground in order to help the targeted population even more. Psychoeducation of families not only alleviates their suffering but also makes the government more profitable by reducing the rates of hospitalization. Family involvement is an essential part of the care process and stabilization. The Profamille Congress is an annual meeting which usually takes place in European cities and which we have the great honor to organize this year in Morocco. The first day includes conferences on the news of the care of patients and their families, as well as a presentation of the results of different Profamille groups. Among the most significant data, we can give as an example the drop in suicide rates in patients whose families have benefited from training by our program. The second day, it is devoted to the workshops intended for the teams in animating Profamille, with the discussion on various obstacles encountered during their practice. Our next objective is to translate the Profamille program in Arabic, which requires a meticulous study of specificity of the Moroccan context with hopes to generalize it to the land of Maghreb and why not Arabic-speaking countries. It is a French-speaking Congress which takes place in Europe, a Congress that we are privileged to organize for the second time in Morocco. It is with great honor that we present the result of our study spread out between 2016 and 2019, and which concern Moroccan Marrakchi families who have benefited from this family program. Our results are very satisfying and encouraging. We have highlighted the impact of the family on improving the mood of the participants and knowledge of the disease and treatment, as well as the management means the disease also underlines the improvement in the patient's condition through the education of his family through the family program. A big step has been taken thanks to Profamille. The psychoeducation of the family has allowed a better care of the patient and a good socio-professional assertion.
as an activist association in the field of mental health and hopes the generalization of this program in other cities and Moroccan healthcare structure in order to extend the benefits. I also call the media and I solicit their incrimination in the stigmatization process mental pathology.
We did some surveys for families participating in profamille program. The back feed was very positive, which shows that our program has been able to help many families. Before, the families came with their patients who suffered from psychological disorders, but with the program we received positive results because they understand how to behave with their patients and how to also work on themselves. In this program, we give families all the tools to better understand the disease and to also know how to behave with their loved ones suffering from mental pathology. In this way, they can develop knowledge so that one day they can start a family. This program is made up of 2 models at the rate of 1 session per week, which lasts 4 hours, which implies that it requires a colossal effort and immobilization in terms of logistics, materials, and human resources. Our objective is to generalize the program in other Moroccan cities and share it with the maximum of families. The duration of this program is from 6 months to 2 years. We are so happy to have started this collaboration with Profamille, which will surely continue. We are pleased to have so many associations present today at the Congress, and we hope that this will motivate the Moroccan associations to develop and help patients who suffer from schizophrenia in Morocco to have surely better treatments, and especially fight the stigmatization of this disease. I also hope that this action will give more hope to associations to work the most with these actors, including the government, to treat schizophrenia of a more important way. I am happy to be with you here in Marrakesh. I was invited by the World Association of Social Psychiatry, which I represent, and fortunately, it interests me enormously. I came to know a little of the concept of profamille. Although it's been 20 years of Congress and hard work, I was familiar with this approach with well thought out thoughts and perfect work. It's different from what I call psychoeducation in Canada, which has the same meaning but not deep enough. I find this approach well studied, with thoughtful thoughts, well structured. As said Dr. Said Ftah, I find it brilliant. It is different from what is called psychoeducation in Canada, which is not structured enough, which I liked. It is that we are based on research to show the effectiveness of this educational program. What is interesting is how to reinforce this approach. Personally, I have done a training in French in Montreal and at the same time in English. And many associations nowadays are not exclusively English speaking, but the language of exchange is in English. It will be interesting to present this approach in the French-speaking world and to also present these ideas, including the World Psychiatric Association, because it's worth sharing this translation with others in English, Spanish, and in Italian. These are practical workshops intended for profamille facilitators. Each workshop consists of 14 lessons of 4 hours each, is loaded with a subject, and we talk about it in detail and with precision. We presented a workshop on emotions. We specified quite a lot in this workshop the techniques used, in particular the down arrow, the tracking of thoughts, emotions and behaviors. This downward arrow, which can hardly be experienced by the participants and therefore complicated brought by the facilitators, alongside answering the participants' different questions on the subject. I'm going to lead a workshop on psychoeducation, and in this workshop we try to show more techniques and performances that we can give to leaders, families, and care teams to take better care of the patients and give them modern ways and skills of care. Here, in the framework of this workshop, version 3.3 and the brain diagram, we are there to answer the questions of the animators on modifications of this new version, and to which we must be attentive as much as the animator, and also the questions that may arise in relation to participations that are emotionally overloaded or refusing to exercise, and how to position themselves as a facilitator. Compared to the Congress, it remains a moment which is very important to be able to meet. It is a pleasure for us to be welcome this year in Marrakesh. The next Congress will take place in Montpellier.